Poisoned at the Grocery Store, Part 4 by Marko Vovk. The book link is below and available on Amazon. Shopping the perimeter of a grocery store sounds smart for health, but the produce section has its own set of problems, hidden by fresh colors and perfect shapes. Most vegetables, whether loose, binned, packed, or bagged, are grown using a roster of modern chemicals. Pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, such as chlorpyrifos, glyphosate, imidacloprid, fludeoxonil, and pyrimethanol, are commonly used. These residues can penetrate deeply into the skin and underlying tissues and are not removed by water. If you buy organic, that is preferable, and later chapters in this book will cover organic food in greater detail. Still, studies show that more than 80% of peaches and cucumbers sampled in U.S. stores carry pesticide residues. Bell peppers, green beans, potatoes, and strawberries are some of the most contaminated vegetables. Even green beans sometimes show traces of banned chemicals years after they were supposedly removed. Why spray so much? Weeds, bugs, and molds attack crops constantly, so farmers rely on sprays for speed, cost, and big harvests. Celery, for example, is approved for more than 60 pesticides, including methimidofos and maneb, used to prevent rot and insect damage. But residues remain. Pesticides do not just leave after harvest. Chlorpyrifos can damage our brains and nerves, especially in kids, and it is banned in the EU and highly restricted here. Glyphosate raises questions about cancer, gut trouble, and soil health. Imidacloprid is known to harm pollinators and disrupt ecosystems, and it is commonly found in food. Multiple chemical residues accumulate in the body. Their effects do not vanish with a rinse. Federal standards set by the US EPA are called maximum residue limits. For example, the limit for chlorpyrifos in spinach is 7 parts per million, and for maneb in celery, it is 15 ppm. The units used are parts per million or becquerels per kilogram for radiation. The US allows pesticide residue levels 5 to 10 times higher than those in Europe or Canada, calling them safe by American standards. After the nuclear meltdown in Fukushima, Japan, in March 2011, local farmland became radioactive. Food grown there contained cesium and other radioactive elements. Russia, China, and Vietnam banned food from these areas. The U.S. raised its allowable cesium limit on imported food to 1,200 becquerels per kilogram, 12 times the strict European limit of 100 becquerels per kilogram. Japan itself banned and destroyed foods with more than 100 becquerels, whereas the United States accepted those and higher levels, deeming them safe for retail. Nuclear accidents can contaminate soil for decades. You might need to bring a Geiger counter to the store in the future. There are over 450 active atomic power plants worldwide, plus uranium mines, nuclear bomb test sites, and ongoing leaks. Some chemical fertilizers add silent dangers. Many contain arsenic, cadmium, and lead. These accumulate in the soil and on plants, affecting carrots, beets, spinach, and beans. Over time, heavy metals hurt your nervous system, kidneys, and bones. Cancer risk goes up after many years of slow, invisible exposure. Farmers sometimes use untreated or recycled water for irrigation, especially in dry regions. This water can carry pharmaceutical drugs, heavy metals, and antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Cabbage, lettuce, and carrots absorb these substances through their roots. Washing vegetables on the surface will not remove deep residues. Wind drift spreads chemical sprays beyond targeted fields. People who live near large-scale farms are exposed to drifting pesticide clouds, with health effects ranging from headaches and skin irritation to increased cancer risk and shortened lifespans. Not just neighbors, but nearby organic crops may get ruined by spray drift. Rotten manure or contaminated hay can stunt, twist, and even destroy vegetable crops. In recent years, many farms have had sales banned due to high levels of PFAS or heavy metals, with no labeling or warning at retail. Imported vegetables and fruit raise new questions. Foods come from Mexico, Chile, China, and Southeast Asia. Some banned pesticides include acephate, methimidofos, and DDT. Acephate causes nervous system symptoms, and DDT is linked to cancer and congenital disabilities. U.S. stores do not list all chemical treatments or the country of origin. Hypothetically, bulk mixed vegetables from a non-regulated country could be treated with any substance, shipped to the U.S., packed, wholesaled, and distributed without anyone knowing what you eat. Garlic from China is often grown in fields treated with untreated human waste. Bulbs can absorb lead, E. coli, and pharmaceuticals, and tests have found high levels of contamination, yet packages rarely warn consumers. Your fresh garlic or snap peas may be much less safe or natural than they appear. Even locally grown apples are heavily sprayed. In Michigan, orchardists use up to 50 pounds of chemical spray per acre each year, including Captain, carbaryl, and glyphosate. Sprays fight worms, scabs, and fungus, but many residues remain on the apples. Apples are also coated in wax containing morpholine. Morpholine can combine with stomach acid and vegetable nitrates to form nitrosamines, a possible cancer risk. If fingerprints stick after washing, the wax is not natural. Produce is endlessly handled at every step: harvesting, packing, filling, sorting, and displaying. Each time food is moved, bacteria and viruses hitch a ride. FDA surveys found that more than 99% of produce bins and store scales were covered with bacterial colonies. Each contact is another opportunity for contamination by norovirus, E. coli, mold, or staphylococcus. Precut and pre-washed vegetables are no better. Bagged greens, shredded carrots, and diced peppers travel through many hands and machines. Damp bags let Listeria, Salmonella, and E. coli grow. In 2018, tainted romaine lettuce sickened more than 200 people in 36 states. 96 were hospitalized, and 5 died. Poorly irrigated water or a handler not washing their hands can initiate a national outbreak. Triple washing does not always remove all scars or leaf veins. Bulk bins and deli containers carry risks. Unsensitized scoops, plastics, and mixed batches can mix up germs, mildew, and BPA. Vegetables moved from old bins to new ones carry invisible risks. The FDA detected Salmonella in many bins after the vegetables had been stored for several days. Washing vegetables helps, but it will never erase every problem. Chemical residues leach into flesh. Bacteria and molds settle in scars. Even home washing can only reach the surface. Organic produce can also be contaminated by drift, water, or spoiled manure. Some produce is treated with radiation or X-rays before reaching your cart. Food irradiation kills bugs and bacteria and delays spoilage. The US FDA and USDA allow it for papaya, mango, guava, and some berries, as well as mushrooms, onions, and potatoes. Radiation does not make food radioactive, but it can lower vitamin C and B vitamins and slightly change flavor or texture. Studies find minor chemical byproducts from irradiation, but scientists still debate the long-term impact. Sometimes radiation comes by accident. The world has over 450 active nuclear plants, countless mines, bomb test sites, and leaks. Fallout from disasters can poison farmland for generations. Following the 2011 Fukushima disaster, Japan banned contaminated food, whereas the United States accepted higher radiation levels. A few foods are naturally radioactive. Bananas, Brazil nuts, and potatoes carry potassium-40. No one has ever gotten radiation sickness from eating them, but it is a reminder that nature is complicated, and the modern supply chain is even more so. Your healthy grocery pile is the result of a global system packed with invisible risks. Unlisted sprays, heavy metals, bacteria from hands, molds, wax, BPA, irradiation, or garlic grown in sewage all show up in your basket. Scrub, peel, and rinse, but know the truth runs deeper than the skin. If every vegetable carried a label telling you its story, most shoppers would pause before eating. Well, we are perimeter shopping again, and now stand in the dairy section. Nothing beats a chill from the cooler and a wall of milk, butter, cheese, and tubs of soft, white stuff. Sadly, the dairy aisle is contaminated too. It only looks pure and creamy beneath all that bright white and yellow shine. Milk originates from the cow and her daily feed. Cows eat corn, soy, alfalfa, and cottonseed, much of it sprayed with pesticides. These include chlorpyrifos, atrazine, and permethrin. These are chemicals used to kill pests, molds, and weeds. That feed enters the cow and passes a portion directly into milk. Milk carries not only nutrients, but a chemical story. Whenever there is a nuclear leak, disaster, or fallout, milk is the first thing tested. When the Fukushima nuclear disaster meltdown hit in 2011, the first radioactive food detected in the US was cow milk in Hawaii. Unfortunately, they do not test all milk so that people may drink radioactive milk after distant disasters. Radiation in milk has been found after Chernobyl, Fukushima, and US testing sites, sometimes showing up for years. Many milk batches go untested, or problems are discovered after public consumption. Even after pasteurization, trace residues sneak into conventional milk. More than 80% of US milk samples test positive for at least one pesticide. Chlorpyrifos is the most common. This pesticide is a nerve poison. It is banned in the EU, but legal in US farming for profit. The government appears more concerned with profits than public health. Chlorpyrifos is linked to brain problems in children, memory loss, and headaches. Atrazine and permethrin may act as endocrine disruptors or hormone blockers. Research found milk with high pesticide residues in states with heavy chemical farming. Drinking milk with these disruptors can alter hormone levels and has been tied to early puberty, smaller birth weight, fertility trouble, and some cancers. Children in farming regions have higher rates of learning issues and lower test scores. Cows get sick, so farmers use antibiotics. That doesn't all stay in the cow. About 60% of US conventional milk samples show residues of common antibiotics. Sulfamethazine and sulfathiazole remain in the milk long after milking. Amoxicillin sometimes exceeds legal safety limits. Too many milk samples violate regulations and are sold anyway. In rare cases, children who consume large amounts of milk while taking antibiotics may develop resistant gut bacteria. High exposure does not enlarge teeth, but it can change gut flora, weaken resistance, or cause digestive allergic reactions. Some children develop hives or vomiting. Repeated antibiotic exposure can upset the immune system, making children and vulnerable people more likely to get sick or battle persistent infections. What if your immune system is weak? Antibiotic residues can wipe out good bacteria in your gut. With fewer natural defenses, you can face infections, allergies, or food intolerances. Immune suppression makes every meal a new risk, especially in children, the elderly, and those with chronic health issues. Growth hormones in dairy sit at the center of a health and ethics storm, and they deserve your full attention. This chapter examines how ordinary milk functions as a hormone delivery system and why this matters for children, hormones, and long-term health. Many conventional dairy cows receive RBST, which stands for recombinant bovine somatotropin, a lab-made version of a natural cow hormone that controls milk production. It is also called RBG, recombinant bovine growth hormone, and pushes the cow's body to keep producing high volumes of milk long after normal production would slow. Conventional US milk can contain much higher levels of growth-related hormones than certified organic milk, which bans the use of these injected growth hormones. That extra hormone load does not stay in the barn. It ends up in the bulk tank and then in your glass. RBGH use is linked to more udder infections in cows because animals pushed to produce more milk face more stress and inflammation in the udder. More infections mean more antibiotic treatments, which increases the risk of antibiotic residues and the emergence of resistant bacteria in the food chain. For humans, concern centers on IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, a robust growth signal that rises when cows receive these hormones and can also rise in people who consume large amounts of hormone-treated dairy. Elevated IGF-1 levels are associated in research with higher risks of certain cancers and with changes in growth and maturation patterns, including earlier puberty in girls. Canada and the European Union prohibit the use of RBST and RBGH in dairy herds, citing animal welfare concerns and potential long-term human health effects. Their regulators acknowledge that hormone injections harm cows and that the added IGF-1 and hormonal disturbance may pose unacceptable risks. In contrast, The US still allows these hormones in dairy, and milk from treated cows is mixed into the conventional supply without any requirement to label it. For decades, economic pressures have favored higher yields per cow, and industry lobbying has kept these products on the market despite bans in other countries. For shoppers, that leaves a problematic choice. Organic standards prohibit RBST and RBGH, and many smaller dairies also advertise that they do not use artificial growth hormones, even if they are not entirely organic. Cartons that state "from cows not treated with RBST or RBGH" typically reflect a different production philosophy, one that accepts lower per-cow yield in exchange for fewer hormones and fewer infections. When you pick up a gallon, you are not only buying milk, you are voting on whether profit or precaution wins in the barns that supply your table. Milk and cream can also contain heavy metals from irrigation water, farm soil, and cattle feed. Lead, cadmium, arsenic, and mercury can show up in dairy products. These toxic metals weaken bones, strain the kidneys, and permanently lower IQ in children. Milk batches with metal contamination sometimes cause recalls or lawsuits. In a 2024 nationwide study, more than 20% of butter samples contained detectable DDE, a breakdown product of the banned pesticide DDT. In some samples, neurotoxic pesticides were found at troubling levels. Toxic mold in the animal's grain and feed brings another invisible hazard. Aflatoxins come from moldy corn or stored grains. These are potent liver carcinogens, among the most studied by food scientists worldwide. Aflatoxin M1 often enters milk, cheese, and even infant formula. Aflatoxin poisoning can damage livers, stunt children's growth, lower immunity, and raise lifetime cancer risk. Pasteurization does not reliably destroy aflatoxins, so prevention is key. Most modern feed for dairy cows is genetically engineered, including corn, soy, or alfalfa. The cow's genes do not change, so the milk is not GMO by DNA. Still, we do not fully understand the long-term health effects of drinking milk from cows fed GMOs. GMO crops are treated with more herbicides and pesticides, as weeds and insects evolve resistance to these chemicals. Residues can concentrate in animal fat and appear in cheese, butter, and yogurt. Processed dairy foods such as cottage cheese, cream cheese, and flavored yogurts often contain modified cornstarch, thickening gums, or gelatin from GMO sources. These thickeners add texture and shelf life, but confer no health benefits. They may trigger gut discomfort, gas, or increase the risk of food allergies due to changes in gut bacteria. After cows, chemicals, and feed, milk moves on to heat. Pasteurization is the process of heating milk to inactivate bacteria. Some milk and cream are subjected to high-temperature pasteurization to extend shelf life. This not only changes the flavor, but also breaks down proteins, destroys enzymes, and sometimes makes it harder for your body to digest. Many of today's children have milk allergies or lactose intolerance, about 2 out of 10. Sensitivity to pasteurized and processed milk is now a common complaint. Modern milk and dairy face a newer threat: microplastics. These are tiny synthetic fibers, flakes, or spheres from plastic equipment or packaging. Independent labs found microplastics in every major U.S. powdered milk brand and in processed cheese and yogurt. Microplastics can cross the gut barrier and may enter the bloodstream, liver, and other tissues. Scientists are concerned that lifetime exposure could alter hormone levels, damage organs, or interfere with digestion, although long-term data are still being collected. What about the color you see? Butter and cheese are often colored with annatto, turmeric, or synthetic dyes to achieve a stronger yellow or orange hue. Cheaper cheese uses azopigments, which are stable but are linked to allergic reactions and cancer in sensitive individuals. Bright orange cheese or butter does not mean more nutritional value. Sometimes it means more additives. No one expects a neon cow in the pasture. Next to the butter, you will see the fake butters and spreads. The ingredient list is long, including refined vegetable oils, emulsifiers, colorants, flavorings, and preservatives. These might include trans fats, mono and diglycerides, and food colorings. The body has no use for many of these ingredients. Real butter contains cream and salt, whereas margarine and spreads are food engineering products with uncertain health effects. Scan the rest of the case. Yogurt, cottage cheese, and sour cream are not free of added ingredients. Stabilizers keep them thick and uniform. Common ones include gar gum, carrageenan, and modified cornstarch, with preservatives added to extend shelf life. It sounds like chemistry class, but we are the experiment. Many of these same containers now include corn syrup, fake sweeteners, and artificial fruit flavors. These ingredients feed gut bacteria improperly, sometimes causing gas, bloating, or long-term gut trouble. Americans consume more saturated fat from dairy than from nearly any other source in the diet. Saturated fat, salt, and ultra-processed fillers are the top ingredients in cheese, butter, and sour cream. Too much saturated fat links to blocked arteries, heart attack, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Many spreads or processed cheese slices now have even less nutrition than a carton of whole milk. The more convenient the product, the more likely it is to be high in additives and low in food value. Your cheese rarely indicates the presence of other processed ingredients. Mold inhibitors and antifungal preservatives are common, especially in big brand shredded cheeses. These can cause headaches, digestive distress, or trigger allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. Some people get skin rashes or asthma from these added preservatives. Yogurt in the United States comes with big promises. Brands claim to support gut health or promote extra probiotics, but often offset it with high sugar, fake fruit, and artificial sweeteners. Ground-up imported strawberries or peaches in yogurt can still carry pesticide residues that are not removed by pasteurization. Too much sugar in yogurt can promote bad gut bacteria and gas, causing more candida growth rather than a balanced microbiome. Commercial dairy can go off at any point in the process. If pasteurization, filtration, or refrigeration fails, you can get sick. Cold chain problems mean milk can grow Salmonella, Listeria, or E. coli before you discover it. Recalls are common. Food handling errors and failures drove dairy lay-dude recall numbers in 2025 at every step. If you develop food poisoning from cheese or milk, it may have originated from a slight slip in the factory or storage. None of the risks is isolated. Dairy products accumulate layers of chemicals, heavy metals, antibiotics, dioxins, pesticides, and drugs such as ractopamine. Ractopamine is banned in most countries, including China and Europe, but still used by some U.S. producers. Dioxins accumulate over the years in fat and are difficult for the body to eliminate. These industrial residues concentrate in animal fats, making butter, cheese, and whole milk the top dietary sources. With every bite or sip, you are eating from a global supply chain of surprises. Chemicals, contaminants, food colorings, hormones, sweeteners, bacteria, and microplastics are all along for the ride. Next time you see that all-natural label, look past the marketing. The true story is not in the pretty carton, but in the long list of invisible ingredients and treatments. We will discuss organic dairy and alternatives in another chapter. If you think all natural is a guarantee, get ready to be surprised. Buying milk or cheese is no longer a simple act. It takes research, a sense of humor, and some science. Every label is an exercise in trust. Look for shorter ingredient lists, certified organic claims, and farms that test their feed and soil for toxins and metals. If you want pure milk, you now have to hunt for it. Many readers grew up thinking milk built strong bones and butter meant good health. But the science and food world has changed. Your next glass of milk might be a laboratory experiment with cream on top. The healthy dairy aisle now tells a different story, one of chemicals, processing, and risks that few consumers recognize. Fewer ingredients, more honest farming, and careful handling are the cure. If only we really got that in every scoop or sip. This ends part 4. Please continue to part 5. The link to purchase the book on Amazon is in the comments section below.